Hey guys, this is Rachel Thompson. For my environmental concern topic, I researched acid rain. Acid rain is a mixture of dry and wet materials that come down from the atmosphere. Basically, it's caused by a lot of nitric and sulfuric acid being in the atmosphere, and then it reacts and comes down. In the form of acid rain, which has a big effect, acid rain causes corrosion of metals, so a lot of damage done to buildings and Statue of Liberty, things like that, that messes up man-made structures, I guess. Um, Acid rain is humans' fault, I guess is the easiest way to say it. It is mostly because of industry and air pollution that we are putting so much carbon dioxide and methane into the atmosphere and causing acid rain. Maybe acid rain itself is not like a huge deal, like, oh, okay, so some metal erodes and some paint gets messed up and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's not that big of a deal. But acid rain is a sign that we are really messing with our atmosphere, which is a big problem. It causes climate change. And theoretically, our planet's not going to survive if we keep living the way that we are currently. And climate change is also a big problem because it will affect world food. Acid rain itself probably won't have a big effect on world food issues, but if climate change becomes more and more drastic, that will affect agriculture and growing seasons, and people will have to adapt to change to it. And then what if we adapt and figure out our new climate, and then it changes drastically again, which might cause shortages because harvests might be ruined. Yeah, sorry. So I guess a plan to stop it would just be reduce methane emissions. That's on an industrial scale, which is unfortunate because the Obama administration put a lot of policies into effect that tries to reduce industrial methane release, and at least like the gas emission rule, at least making like they have to say how much they're releasing, and they have to be able to get it down to a certain amount. But the Trump administration has peeled a lot of that back, so we might be going the wrong direction. I read a book called Heat by George Monbiot. It's really intense. You guys should read it if you want to be depressed about the world and the state of how screwed we are because of how much humans suck. But anyway, in that book, it suggested that this is really radical and insane, but he suggested that we should come up with a carbon cap. So it would be like citizens would get a certain amount that they can use per country per capita, and then it would kind of be like electricity. So how much release of carbon. So how many miles you're allowed to drive based off how efficient your car is, and all these sorts of things. How much electricity you're allowed to use because carbon dioxide is released when they make electricity. So it's just because they burn fossil fuels. So it was a lot of different things. That would be a really intense way of doing it. A simpler version would just be come up with better technology and better methods of stuff we already have. So more efficient cars, which that's already happening because people like having to spend less money on gas, or finding new fuel types, relying more on renewable energy sources would be helpful too. Just basic stuff like reduce climate change, which would reduce acid rain, because we can do only so much day to day in our own lives, but it needs to happen on an industrial level. We need to make sure the industries aren't releasing a lot of pollutants that like nitric acid and sulfuric acid. But I do think acid rain is a big problem, mostly because it's a huge sign of atmosphere problems and therefore climate change. But thank you.